Yes, sir. All right. Started recording on Zoom.
Awesome. So, yeah, I would like to just start it off. My name is Jose Rodriguez, Keller Williams real estate agent here in New York, Rockland County. Also a real estate investor into fixing and flipping, looking to get into rental properties. And I have my boy Ronnie here with me. He's a real estate agent with Keller Williams as well, up in North Jersey. Ronnie, you could come on now, introduce yourself.
Hi. All right, guys. So yeah, I'm real estate agent with Keller Williams in Midtown Direct. I cover Essex County, Virginia County, Essex County, and some of Clinton County as well. So if anybody has anybody in this area, you know what the figure to do.
He likes to invent words. I still don't know what that means. But today's topic is going to be growth. It was an idea inspired by Brendan. I think he's on here. And basically it stemmed off of the question, when does a good thing stop being a good thing? Or when is it time for you to expand, get creative, and try something that's going to help you grow in general? So, Ronnie, if you want to kick it off and, just basically say one point in your life where you have experience, where you entered a situation, maybe you felt like it was time for you to grow out of that box and put yourself in a bigger box. Maybe you could talk about a time like that. Okay,
great question. First off, I would like to say I'm continuously outgrowing that box every single day. So that's number one point that I want to say. Now, if we want to go back in time, I'll go back in time when I was working at a warehouse. I was working full-time at Raymore and Flanagan. I was FT. I don't even know what that stands for anymore. But, I was working my ass off. I don't want to brag, but, always, every job I was at, I was always one of the hardest workers there because that's just how I was raised. That's just in my blood. And I was always doing overtime, and the money was okay because I was young, didn't have any responsibilities, no crazy bills, no crazy car bills or any debt. Money wasn't bad, but I was comfortable. I was looking at everybody else like they were comfortable. So I was in an environment of pure comfort, and you cannot grow in a state of comfort, right? So I'm just talking with, there was one dude specifically that literally, I wouldn't want to say changed my life, and I don't even talk to him anymore. He just pointed out a fact in my head that I couldn't sign the light bulb on. And just to share the story, I was in the warehouse, and he was the type of dude that was a very hard worker as well. In his department, he was probably the #1 worker that I know. Very calm dude, whatever. And I was always talking to him about business. And I told him that I always wanted to start my own business, but I didn't know exactly what to do. I was into construction, yada, yada, yada. And then I told him about the family company that we have, which is heating and air conditioning. My father been running that business since '09. And I told him about it. This was probably in 2012, 2013. And he looked at me. He was like, Ronnie, so your father has a heating and air conditioning company? I'm like, yeah. I was like, well, that's not construction, but why in the hell are you here? Why aren't you learning from your pops and going into that business? And I just looked at him with like a stupid face, like it never clicked on me. So I thought about it. I'm like, yo, he's so true. So I went home that same night. I talked to my father, and I was like, listen, I'm willing to work with you. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever you want. Pay me the same as I'm earning right now, X amount of dollars per week, and I'll bust my ass to work for you. And 4 or 5 years later, it's been the craziest turnaround in my life because I entered a business environment that I knew nothing about. Like, I knew the good stuff about it, but I went to pure hell. But every day I was growing and growing and growing. And I guess that's a story that took me through to like a normal job with 9 to 5-ish, and I stepped into the business world and never looked back. Because ever since I stepped into my father's world of business, I never wanted to work for anybody again. So that like stretched me out into the point where I'm looking forward and I'm never going back. Like that's just where I'm at right now.
Yeah, dude, that's an awesome story. So was there any like pointers or any hints? I know you mentioned that feeling comfortable was one of the hints where it was like, okay, I'm too comfortable right now. I gotta grow. I gotta expand. Was there any other hints that maybe entailed you that it was time for something bigger than what you were
Okay,
doing?
good. That's a good point. Always talk about what's in your mind. Don't stay in the cage and keep looking out and keep trying out new things. Like there was also a time and a point where I tried out for the union. I tried out to be a what's it called? A journeyman for the union. And that didn't work out for whatever reason. And that would have been an amazing job with benefits, life insurance, and all this other good stuff, right? That didn't work out. And instead of continually trying on for the union, I said, forget about them, and I went on with my father's business. So I guess the point is, continue to try out new roads, because no matter how good your plan is, it's never going to be 100% what you plan to do. Try out new things and talk about what you want to do, and eventually you might run into someone that may light up a bulb in your head that you're not realizing at the moment. I guess that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true, man. And it's for me, it was like a similar experience. You know, I started working as soon as I could. So I was 14. I got my working papers. I started working at McDonald's, right? And it wasn't the best job at the time, but it was something to keep me busy, something to make money. At the time, you always want to make money because you don't want to depend on your parents' money, or maybe your parents aren't really giving you money because they have to pay bills and stuff like that. So my first job was working at Mickey D's, and
Hey,
working there, I mean, it was kind of like what you're saying. You know, you're getting good at things, you're applying it, and then I got a little bit comfortable. And now another thing is that to keep in mind, as you get comfortable with playing these roles, be careful not to get complacent, because a lot of times, especially in real estate, let's say you do your first deal, you do your second deal, you do your third deal, and now the fourth deal, you're like slacking, you're not on time, you're not communicating with your clients as effective as you were in the first deal. So those are some hints that, you know, you may be needing to add somebody to your team, or to expand, or to keep focus, right? So not to get off track, you know, I started at 14 McDonald's, and I felt like I needed another job. So after McDonald's, I started working at a gym. I started working at a gym, and I worked for my membership, you know, and I was doing sports. So then I started, instead of just making a quick buck at Mickey D's, it went from getting a better education. And I was doing track at the time, so I was planning to get a full ride. That was the whole reason why
oh,
I
wow.
was doing track. I wanted to get a full ride, you know, and I wanted to get good at it. And I liked it. So after that, I mean, then I got another job towards the end, because I saw myself, I wasn't performing as good as I should have been, and then I also didn't grow myself into that environment as I should have been. So I got another job, and then I started working at a pizzeria. Now that was like square one again, right? I got used to the pizzeria. Then I started working with my brother as a land surveyor, you know, people that measure properties. After measuring properties, I was getting a check. I was getting good money. I was getting paid like $17 an hour, $18 an hour, around there. And then I was like, okay, well, I saved up some money, and then I started thinking to myself, what's the next big step? So once I saved some money, I felt like this is something that's good for right now, but in the long term, 5 to 10 years from now, do I still see myself here? So that's a great question to ask yourself. If you're thinking about switching into a new career, or doing something different, or maybe you're not content with what you're doing at the moment, ask yourself, 10 to 15 years from now, or even 5 to 10 years from now, if I'm still doing this, will I be happy? And then whatever answers you determine, that's when it's time for you to make a change. That's when it's time for you to go after that next big thing. For me, it was real estate. I decided to quit it wasn't a 9 to 5, it was a 7 to 3, but it's still the same concept. I went to real estate, and I started, you know, getting my first few deals. After I got my first few deals, I was like, okay, what's the next big thing? And now I was just speaking to Ronnie about this before the show. I'm thinking about, you know, getting an assistant on board, or hiring my first transaction coordinator, because it's time for me to grow my business, you know, train other people to do what I do. cold calling, all the other stuff, so I can grow myself, grow my brand, and be more effective.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, you and I had quite the journey. I didn't want to name all the jobs because I probably had like 10 jobs, and it was just crazy. I just kept like getting bored, getting complacent. I'm like, all right, on to the next, on to the next. So we definitely have some similar paths. I guess if on to the next point, let's say, there's someone, like, let's say you go to a reunion back in high school, right? Back with all your boys from high school, and you can say for yourself that you've outgrown yourself in high school, not comparing yourself to others or none of that. You definitely outgrown yourself from your high school Jose, I guess you can say. So let's say you meet up with someone, in a few years, and you feel like you're just at a level where you're continuously growing, and someone asks you, Jose, like, can you give me some pointers or some tips in regards to what I can do, because I feel like I don't know what to do. I'm in a job where I'm comfortable, but I hate it. What are some tips and advice that you can give someone that asks you a question like that to you?
Well, if they're doing something that they hate, I would ask them, why are they doing it? That way I know if it's just for the money, if it's certain obligations that he has to do it for. So I would first figure out why he's doing what he's doing. The next thing is that I would ask him would be the same question that I said before. Could you see yourself here 5 to 10 years from now? Or what do you like? What do you want to do? Back when you were a kid, and the teacher asks you, your parents ask you could be anything you want in life. What would that be? So give yourself a chance at becoming that person that you're thinking about. Or even if you don't know, let's say, for example, because a lot of people are in a point of their lives where they just don't know what to do, mainly get out there and try different things. The best way to find out what you want to do is by, picking a career, sticking to that career. And if it doesn't work out for you, then you have to try something that's going to make you happy. How do you find out something that's going to make you happy? I mean, you have to go out there and experiment, but you have to get aligned with yourself before you do that, right. Because a lot of people, they go out there, try out anything, and then figure one or two things out, but that's not really what they want to do. That's what everybody else thinks that they want to do. So the way that you align yourself is by spending more time with yourself and isolating yourself from the friends that you already have that are influencing you to do certain things that you're not 100% aligned with, right? Surround yourself with people that want growth, that are like-minded and are thinking like you in the moment. You want to grow. You want to do something bigger. That's what I did. I started reading more books. I started listening to more podcasts. I started just expanding my knowledge. I isolated myself from a lot of friends that were just floating through life, or just kind of not doing what I wanted to do. And by surrounding myself with people from growth, people that wanted to do different things, I found my passion to be real estate, or I found my passion to be, a communicator or an influencer. Whatever it is that you want to do, you're going to find it by listening to the people that you admire. For example, like Brian Casella, right? We each have a certain connection with him, with his communication, with his mentality, the way he does certain things. So you could already tell the people that you look up to, there is a certain trait in that person that's in you as well. That burning passion that you have it could be the same burning passion that they have. They're just showing it in a different way. But you're connecting with that person so well because the same thing that's in them is in you as well. You just haven't been around that content. You just have to block out all the noise. That's what it is. That's what I feel like it is, man. Every day we get bombarded with everybody's agenda, right? Oh, let's do this, let's do that, and we don't let the other side of growth, where we should be paying attention to, guide us to the best self. So I would say get yourself around a better environment. That would be the first thing for sure.
I was just going to concise all of that, and better environment is kind of something that you emphasize in your whole explanation, and something else on top of change your environment or be more aware in your environment is another thing, is just go out there and try new things no matter what. And I guess we can kind of translate all this, everything what you said, to failure. You know, out of failure comes growth. If you look at it at the right way, most people look at failure as a permanent thing that happens in life, where failure is just something temporary, a temporary defeat, where you look at it and you can grab a lesson out of each failure that you go through in life and look at it as an experience rather than something that's going to be permanent for the rest of their life. There's some people that talk about failures that happened 20, 30, 50 years ago, and that's draining their life from them at their current moment. How can something be so impactful 20, 30, 10, 5, even 5 minutes ago? When you go through something in life and you feel like you failed, look at it as a temporary defeat, pull a lesson from it, and grow from that experience by learning what you went through and then doing it again, but just not committing the same mistake you did. That's how you grow. And some people don't understand the concept of failure. It's bittersweet, basically. I mean, it's something in front of your face that's telling you to come here. And this, if you go through this door, this is where you're going to find growth. This is where you're going to find your answers. And most people look at that door like it's an illusion of something that they shouldn't go through. And then they go through the other door, which is sitting on the couch and staying in their 9-to-5 job and staying in their clique of friends that seems cool and comfortable. But in reality, the road of comfort doesn't take you to any growth in life. It's a fact. Like, if you stay comfortable in your chair and watch your movies every single night when you come home from work, if you don't read, if you don't go to environments where people inspire you, or you don't meet new people, how in the hell are you going to grow? You have to learn how to fail, voluntarily, grab lessons from it, and grow from those failures by basically doing it again and not committing the same mistakes that you did.
Yeah, it's failure is a stepping stone, and it's required for success. Every major success that you guys all know, and I know, and Ronnie knows, they all have failed, you know, and had been qualified to be at that position. You know, nobody's just rewarded with where they are. And you should actually, I said this before on another live, if you do fail or you have to go through more steps than that guy that's born with a silver spoon, you should consider yourself lucky, because now you're able to pull lessons from those failures. And they're not really failures if you're learning from them. So you're winning all the time. You're able to pull these lessons that these guys can't pull because they haven't experienced what you're going through. So 10 to 15 years from now, yeah, starting off, they may be ahead of you right now, but 10 to 15 years from now, you're going to pull all of these lessons that these guys have never experienced because they got rewarded with that silver spoon, and now you're going to fucking smoke them, right? Once you're 10, 15 years, you're going to be head and head. They're going to have an issue. They're not going to know how to face it, but you are, because you've been resourceful your whole life. So starting off, you know, from the mud or from the beginning, I actually would see it as an advantage. You know, obviously they would have an advantage, you know, with who they know, their network and their circle, but you will face many things that they won't. And by the time you get to that level, your experience and your knowledge and what you've been through is going to speak for itself.
Absolutely, brother. And you said something huge, because you said in every failure, if you look at it as a lesson, then you're winning every single day. And that's a point that we can kind of drift on into growth, which is winning every single day. And some people may consider winning as something different in regards to who you are. And this is a question that you have to ask yourself. What's winning for you? What's a W in a day, a week, a year for you? For me, is writing down a few things that I have to do in one single day. And if I accomplish those simple 3, 4, 5 things in one day, I win, no matter how simple it is. Because in regards to winning every single day for the whole year, rather than just going about my life and floating around, then, I mean, I'm winning consistently. Even if it's something so small and incremental, that's going to compound into something so freaking big. I was just reading in the book, The One Thing, The Domino Effect. If you line up about 8 dominoes right? And a domino is like, let's say 2 inches tall, and the next domino is 4 inches. If you increase it 50% behind every domino that's there, eventually by the 8th domino, it's going to be like taller than the Eiffel Tower, something crazy like that. So if you think of those concepts where you continuously win every single day in something so little, that puts you in an uncomfortable state where you're growing every single moment that you're accomplishing those little tasks, then man, you're going to be so far ahead of people. It's going to be, people are going to be looking at you like you're on another level, and you're just doing something so small every single day. Like a prime example is us doing the Live Hard Challenge, the 75 Hard. It's only 75 days. It's 2 months and a half. That's nothing. That's literally less than a quarter of a year. We're literally transforming our lives. Like in 75 days, we can compare ourselves. If we put ourselves in one room and we put someone who didn't do the challenge for 75 days ourselves, someone who did the challenge for 75 days, bro, we're gonna look at each other like you're nothing to me. And it's something so simple that you guys can apply to this life. It could be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the Live Hard Challenge. It doesn't have to be the little task. But figure it out for yourself and just do something every single day that's gonna take you to knock down that big domino that's gonna just be a huge compound effect in your life. And there's one last thing that I like to say before I want to pass it on to you, and I'm forgetting it as I'm rubbing my hand. I'm gonna try to keep talking. Not coming. But all I want to say is stay uncomfortable, consistently win over time. There you go. Most people underestimate what they can do in 6 months or in a year, and they overestimate what they can do in 5 years. Like, it's ridiculous. Once I heard that quote, I was like, damn, that's me. Because I want to do so much shit in 6 months, in 3 months, in 1 year, when I can just break down everything, reverse what's that word? Reverse engineer my goal or the numbers into 5 years. In 5 years, if I break down those goals and go after it every single day, I'll probably get there sooner than I would if I tried within a year.
Yeah, man. And in fact, by the time that you get there, like, you know, taking those small steps, your 5th year, you're probably going to be more equipped, right? You're going to have learned so much other stuff. And the thing is, with what you're saying is basically what I say is getting better 1% each day is 100% in 100 days, right? So imagine getting 100% in a certain thing that you're practicing or you're doing. I mean, it's taking those small steps that are gonna lead you to those long distances, right? And Ed Milet said this too. It's like doing that one extra rep or putting that one extra hour. Let's say, for example, you're cold calling. Everybody in your office is only calling 2 hours a day, but you're calling 3 hours a day. That extra hour is 365 hours. 365 hours in a year, right? And let's say in that hour, you get to speak to 10 people, 10 extra people. In 365 hours, that's 3,650. I suck at math, bro.
Yeah,
3,650 people, new contacts a day. I mean, yeah. Dude, that right there teaches you about the compound effect. You know, doing one more rep, and that last guy that didn't do that one rep, even though it seemed like it was nothing, right? Oh, it's just one. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, a month goes by, and you could already start seeing yourself distancing yourself from the competition because they didn't work that weekend or they didn't go on for that extra hour. And that's basically how people get ahead of other people. Yep. It's by working longer and working also smarter and harder and you know, but definitely sticking to the craft and doing one more all the time will actually will definitely compound yourself to becoming a better person in general.
Yeah, bro. You gain more confidence from it. I heard that exact same podcast from Ed Milet. And what I do in my workouts, I just do a minute more or 2 minutes more, even in my walks or my workouts, or even a book sometimes. Sometimes I read 15 pages, sometimes I read 11, sometimes I read 13. And eventually that's going to take me to a farther pace than my normal one if I just did the bare minimum. So that's a great point that you brought as well.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, what I would say is, you know, to Brendan's question, I mean, when does a good thing stop being a good thing? simply when you become comfortable with it. You know, once you start becoming comfortable with it, you got to put yourself in uncomfortable environments. Dude, this cold shower for Live Hard, at first the Live Hard challenge, that's what I was like looking up to, like, fuck, the cold showers. I'd done it before. I know it wasn't easy, and now I'm doing it more and more, and it's kind of like, it doesn't faze me anymore, man. It's something I actually look up to now, because it refreshes your whole body. That's how I feel with cold showers. Before, when I was taking hot showers, my body or my skin would feel like extra
Dry.
extra dry. Yeah, it would feel so dry. But now with the cold showers, I feel refreshed. I feel more woken up, right? I feel wide awake right after the shower. And dude, it's funny because the other night I didn't take the cold shower in the morning. I'm like, you know, let me just do it later. It was fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to take the cold shower before I went to sleep. And I was like, it is what it is. So I got in there 3 o'clock in the morning, took a cold ass shower, and it woke my ass up. But you know, I had to do it, right?
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's where growth benefits you in life. It puts you in a position where you're not comfortable about feeling about the things that you say about yourself. Your word is your bond. So the fact that you had to do it and you didn't do it throughout your day, instead of just saying, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow, or fuck it, I'm gonna just not do the challenge, you're growing because you're sticking to your word because of all the things you went through in life. And probably before the challenge, you wasn't so consistent with all the things that you said to yourself. And now you're like saying, fuck this, I'm never going back on my word ever again. And you're just going bum, 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 bum. That's where growth is benefiting you. That's what people don't understand too. Yeah.
Integrity. That's what it comes down to. But cool, man. Any other pointers, any other hints or tips you want to give out before we end the live?
Not really, man. I think we summed it all up. If I start something, I'll probably go another 5-10 minutes. So I think it's good for the crowd. I see a couple new people. I keep seeing people from my world stepping to yours. So it's pretty cool. We're connecting some fans with Jose in New York. It's pretty dope, man. I hope. Huh?
Now I was gonna ask if anybody that's in the group before we go and before we disconnect, does anybody have like any questions or any other topics that we haven't covered or that you would like us to cover?
Appreciate it, Brandon. Brandon, that's your boy, right? Do you know him personally or?
He's from Modern Success, bro.
Oh wait, which one? He changed his icon then. Oh no. Okay.
There's two Brandons.
Yeah.
I know which one you're talking about, the blonde Brandon, right?
Yes. My bad, Brandon. You're going to the summit, bro? Hopefully you're still on.
And Stevenson from South Carolina, the real estate agent, hit my boy up.
Hey.
Anybody in South Carolina, I know that over here in the East Coast, upstate, I mean, there's a lot of people moving out to North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Texas.
Yeah, man.
But all right, cool. So it looks like nobody has any questions. Thanks, Brandon, for the nice comments.
Yeah,
and we'll see you guys in the next live, Tuesday 8:30.
Hey, 8:30. All right, brother.
Awesome.
Good talk, man.
Good talk. Peace.
Sarah was like, hi, man. What happened?
Still recording on Zoom.